Hello, anybody who's watching this, welcome to my reaction to I thought the Schmid Peoplemover was impossible. I don't know how to say Schmid by Tom Scott. I've never seen a Tom Scott video, I've only seen a couple of memes with him. Uh, just moments from his video. And it seems fun, so I don't mind reacting to this. This is not his newest video. His newest video is 2 minutes long, and I kind of want something longer to react to. So I chose his next best thing, which is a video that came out a week ago. His second newest, can you say that? His almost newest. Second recent. Whatever. Alright. I don't know what Schmid Peoplemover is. I'm gonna say Schmid until he tells me how to pronounce it actually. Did I plug in? I did plug in. So, okay. If you want to help out the channel, there's a donation link in the description below. You can also just like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do. And let's begin.
Years ago, I made 2 videos on strange elevators that go both horizontally and vertically. The first was in Genoa, Italy.
Okay.
It's a little cabin that travels along a tunnel, which then gets loaded into a regular vertical elevator. The second is in a test tower in Rottweil in Germany. It uses fancy, complicated locking mechanisms and linear induction motors. But the key thing about both those designs is they come to a complete stop when changing direction. Because of how elevators work, safely and smoothly transitioning from horizontal to vertical just isn't possible.
So Peoplemover is an elevator, or a lift, whatever you want to say.
Or at least I thought so. But it turns out that the Schmid Peoplemover has been doing exactly that for about 20 years. Only 3 of these have ever actually been installed. Only 2 of them still exist. This is the larger one at a train station in Altbach, Germany. It took me a long time to understand how this works and how it works safely. I had to hire an engineering consultant to look at the original patents and break it down for me. And also, with the help of a producer in Germany, I tracked down the inventor.
Meine Firma stellt Maschinen und Automatisierungsanlagen her für die Automobilindustrie. Hat mich das immer gestört? Kann das im heutigen Zeitalter noch sein, dass wegen einem Fußgänger der ganze Verkehr anhalten muss? Meine ganzen Mitarbeiter, die haben mich für bekloppt gehalten, wo ich das Modell da vorgeführt habe. Und trotzdem habe ich da immer dran weitergearbeitet. Ich habe dann auch Verbindung aufgenommen mit der Straße und mit der Bahn und die haben dann sehr interessiert sich gezeigt. Dann habe ich 2-3 Jahre gebastelt nebenher, bis ich dann eine Lösung hatte.
This cabin isn't being pulled by cables. The motor is in the cabin itself. It pulls itself along by turning a pair of cogs up top that sit at rack rails, one on each side of the cabin. So this is basically a cog railway, a very fancy one with anti-shake devices, but a suspended cog railway. And that explains the smooth transition to vertical at the top. The cogs just follow the rails as they curve.
I was thinking about that you can make an arch. That's not thinking. That was what I was thinking. I want to talk about it after this, but it's the same thing I was thinking about, that you can put like cogs or wheels on it. But in my mind, it wasn't just like this and then that. In the structure outside, it would have been like an arch, so it's like a smooth transition to just I guess that wouldn't be, maybe that wouldn't be vertical and then horizontal like he wants. Maybe, I don't know. But
do this safely and then travel vertically without, falling to the ground. Well, like the elevator in Genoa, it does get a bit of help on the vertical part. It locks onto a carrier device and a counterweight with safety systems that are roughly equivalent to a regular elevator. The carrier is what you can see start moving through the window as you transition to vertical movement. And meanwhile, down at the bottom, the counterweight sits on calibrated springs so that as this cabin starts to transfer to vertical, the counterweight gently lifted away from the springs and everything balanced. There is an elegant but also quite complicated docking and undocking mechanism up there in the roof for the cabin and the carrier. The closest analogy I can come up with is that it's a bit like closing an up and over garage door. Everything just sort of slides into place.
That's pretty cool.
Wurde bei uns in der Fabrik komplett aufgestellt und getestet.
I wonder, is the limit of the weight it can move smaller than a usual elevator? Or like both? horizontal one and vertical one. I have no idea. Okay, whatever.
Und dann hat die Bahn uns nur 4 Stunden genehmigt zum Aufstellen. War für uns aber kein Problem. Der Peoplemover wurde angeliefert in 3 Teile. Linker Turm, rechter Turm und die
towers and a
Brücke.
bridge, yeah, makes sense.
Und mit dem Kranwagen reingehoben, Brücke drüber. Da sind wir sogar noch 1 Stunde früher fertig gewesen. Und somit musste die Bahn nur die 3 Stunden nachts frei halten. Viel, viel billiger, wie wenn sie hätte eine Unterführung gebaut oder eine Brücke drüber.
It's a wonderful design, but it's
And
also
while building those, it's
and
probably
the
will take.
alternative is to put in an underpass or
You will probably have to stop the trains from moving so they don't interfere with the building.
2 mass-produced elevators and a footbridge
And
between.
do an underbridge, maybe even.
If one of those elevators
chance for
breaks
collapse.
down, well, it can be fixed by any qualified technician using off-the-shelf parts instead of someone who has to be specially trained for this one rare bit of equipment. And if you have a footbridge, you probably also have stairs. So if one of those elevators breaks down, there's a backup. It doesn't work for everyone, but it's better than nothing. And that also means that if you are late for your train and physically able, you can just run up, across and down the footbridge instead of waiting for the Peoplemover to arrive. Now that said, there are advantages to this system. It requires much less land than a regular footbridge does. It doesn't need tunnelling like an underpass. And if you have heavy or bulky bags, well, you don't have to haul them in and out of multiple elevators and across the footbridge. It just takes them across for you.
Ich hatte hier vor Ort ein Erlebnis mit einem Rollstuhlfahrer, der hat mir gesagt, er konnte in seinem ganzen Leben noch nie ohne Begleitperson mit dem Zug bis Stuttgart fahren. Weil es gibt hier keine Unterführung und sonst gar nichts. Und jetzt kann er alleine rein, rüberfahren, nach Stuttgart fahren, zurück, kein Problem mehr. Und das war ja auch der Grund, dass die Bahn das gemacht hat, behindertengerecht den Bahnhof zu machen.
I think there is a possible world in which this design became popular and the parts became off the shelf and this became the standard. I don't think it's a bad invention. It's very clever. It solves a specific problem.
Yeah.
But when there are more common and more reliable alternatives that are just a bit more hassle to install, well, not many places want to take the risk.
I guess it will be easier to build a normal elevator in both towers. Maybe? Maybe it's not as cost. I don't know. I don't know the prices for anything in this manner, but maybe it would have been easier for them to build just 2 towers and then have a bridge across. 2 towers with elevators in it, just normal cable elevators. But this is cool. This is very cool. I never thought about this technology. Like I'm not disabled, so I never thought about really anything in that manner. Even though I am an engineer by my diploma says so. Anyway, this is cool. It just gets me stunned a little bit. It's cool. It's quite simple, but at the same time, quite risky because it's a new technology. I don't know. Whatever. My thoughts mean nothing to anybody. So thank you if anybody watched this. Thank you anybody who watched this. I appreciate it a lot, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye. Have a great life, because one of us has to.